NewsCorp acquired Myspace in 2005 for $580 million and sold it in 2011 for $35 million. So clearly this was a failed alliance. NewsCorp aimed to reinvent itself for the digital age while capitalizing on Myspace's strong growth at the time. This worked well for the first 3 years, when Myspace was still growing. However, Myspace became too focused on increasing revenue rather than innovating. They also had poor management, and with the dramatic rise of Facebook, this was a recipe for disaster. So NewsCorp is a multinational mass media company, founded and still controlled by Rupert Murdoch, the media mogul highly criticized for his dominance in the mass media and biased political opinions. The company was a dominant news agency, but with the rise of the internet, Murdoch was looking for a way to continue to grow as the newspaper and magazine businesses became obsolete. NewsCorp had a rigid, bureaucratic business structure and had a long history of acquisitions and consolidation of media outlets in the USA, Australia, and the UK. Myspace was created by Chris DeWolf, an innovative entrepreneur who was fascinated by the growth of technology. Myspace was a social media site that allowed users to create their own custom websites and share them with friends. The site became popular with musicians who now had a platform to release their music for free and propelled artists like Lily Allen and the Arctic Monkeys to success. The original objective of the alliance was for NewsCorp to gain a distribution platform on the internet and capitalize on Myspace's growth. Murdoch had been investing in other online companies, but thought that Myspace had the best likelihood for high returns. Advertising dollars were shifting from traditional media to the internet, and because of its popularity, Myspace had potential for strong advertising revenues. NewsCorp would also make use of Myspace's user base to drive people toward their existing media platforms. NewsCorp also wanted people and investors to see it as a company that was still innovating and growing, and they thought that by adding Myspace with their popularity and youth culture, they could achieve this. Myspace was almost acquired by Viacom, and it was thought that the NewsCorp winning bid was a victory over their rivals. The benefits to Myspace were that they could gain legitimacy as a business and could increase advertising revenues as a result. So why did they fail? In large part, the acquisition failed due to the rise of Facebook during the years of the acquisition. However, the management of the acquisition is also to blame. Initially, Myspace performed exceptionally well. A year after the acquisition, Myspace saw its unique visitors grow to 55.8 million a month. This early growth led to Murdoch and NewsCorp to promote the company to shareholders and suggest that very high returns would result from Myspace's success. However, with the high expectations came strict controls on what Myspace would be able to do. Myspace became too concentrated on achieving higher revenue, while Facebook was busy innovating. When Facebook became more popular, Myspace was unable to respond quickly enough to their customers' new desires, and so more and more customers switched to Facebook. In 2009, Myspace went through restructuring and layoffs as a response to the decline in users. CEO Chris Wolf stepped down and was replaced by one of Murdoch's managers. This only made things worse for Myspace, and by November of that year, NewsCorp's digital revenues were down 26% from the previous quarter, mostly due to the downfall of Myspace. NewsCorp had learned the hard truth that consumer and investor tastes can switch quickly. They jumped in too early into an industry that they did not fully understand. They clearly underestimated competition from Facebook and the ease with which social media trends can change. Myspace's initial popularity was no guarantee of success in the long term, and NewsCorp has never since tried such a bold acquisition. Instead, NewsCorp's next digital business, The Daily, was one that they would start from scratch. NewsCorp would also learn the danger of imposing their will on a small, innovative startup. It was when the bureaucratic management style seeped into Myspace that things went from bad to worse. Myspace needed the space to innovate without fear of losing short-term revenue to do so. The new goals set by NewsCorp management, however, were entirely revenue-based, and so Myspace would not have this freedom. Also, the goals of the alliance heavily favoured NewsCorp. There was a lack of funds allocated to Myspace, and these funds would have been the only real gain for the social media company, who were otherwise doing just fine on their own. After the failed acquisition, NewsCorp started looking to digitize their existing businesses rather than acquire new ones, which shows that they learned that they cannot simply buy a new company and expect to work like any other NewsCorp subsidiary.